What if the only thing standing between you and early financial freedom is the way you think? Most people believe money is about luck, background, or opportunities they don't have. But the truth is far more powerful and far more uncomfortable. Your results are a reflection of your mindset. Right now, millions of people with fewer resources are winning financially, while others with every advantage stay stuck. Why? Because breakthroughs don't start in your bank account. They start in your mind. If you're ready to challenge everything you believe about money, success, and your own potential, stay with me until the end, because this mindset shift can change your financial future forever. Lesson 1. Your identity determines your income. The most profound shift in the journey toward financial independence is not found in a bank statement or a stock portfolio, but in the quiet architecture of the self. There is a psychological ceiling on your earnings that has nothing to do with the economy and everything to do with your internal thermostat. This thermostat is your financial identity, the subconscious blueprint of what you believe you are worth and what you believe is normal for someone like you. Most people spend their lives trying to change their external circumstances while keeping their internal identity intact. They set lofty goals for six-figure incomes or debt-free living, yet they remain tethered to an old version of themselves that feels safer in the struggle. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your identity. If your identity is that of a scrapper or someone who just gets by, your brain will view any sudden influx of wealth as a threat to your equilibrium, leading to the inevitable self-sabotage that brings you back down to your comfort zone. To truly break through, you must perform a radical audit of the stories you tell yourself about money. These stories are often inherited, echoes of parents complaining about bills or societal narratives that link poverty to virtue and wealth to greed. When you tell yourself you struggle with money, you are issuing a command to your subconscious to seek out evidence of that struggle. You will overlook opportunities, hesitate during negotiations, and spend impulsively to maintain the familiar feeling of lack. Breakthrough wealth begins when you consciously decide to incinerate that old script. You must adopt the identity of a person who creates massive value and expects abundance as a natural byproduct. This isn't about faking it until you make it in a superficial sense. It is about an ontological shift. It is the difference between a smoker trying to quit and a non-smoker. The person who says I am trying to be wealthy is still identified with poverty. The person who says I am a value creator operates from a different center of gravity. This shift in identity changes the very nature of your daily actions. When you see yourself as a high-value individual, you no longer tolerate activities that drain your time or diminish your potential. You begin to carry yourself with a different level of certainty, and the world responds to that certainty. Your identity acts as a filter for every decision you make. If a person with a millionaire identity is faced with a setback, they don't view it as a confirmation of their failure. They view it as a temporary anomaly that doesn't fit their narrative, and they quickly course correct. Conversely, someone with a poverty identity views a windfall as an anomaly and will subconsciously find ways to get rid of the excess money through bad investments or unnecessary liabilities. To change your income, you must first change the I am that precedes it. You must fall in love with the version of yourself that has already achieved the result, adopting their habits, their standards, and their unwavering expectation of success. Lesson 2. Decisions shape destiny. The chasm between a life of financial restriction and a life of total freedom is bridged by a single sharp tool: the power of a committed decision. Most people confuse deciding with wishing. They say they have decided to be rich, but what they really mean is they would like to be rich if the circumstances align and the effort required isn't too painful. A true decision, derived from the Latin decidere, which means to cut off, implies that all other possibilities have been severed. When you truly decide to change your financial destiny, you cut off the possibility of retreat. You cut off the excuses, the maybe next years, and the I'm not ready yet. A breakthrough happens the moment the pain of staying the same finally outweighs the fear of change. It is an internal enough is enough moment that vibrates through your entire life, signaling to yourself and the world that the old standards are no longer acceptable. Destiny is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of choice. Every financial state you currently find yourself in is the cumulative result of decisions made months or years ago, decisions about what to study, what to buy, who to work for, and how to spend your evenings. If you are unhappy with the harvest, you must look at the seeds you decided to plant. The beauty of this realization is that it places the power entirely back in your hands. You are not a victim of the interest rate, the government, or your boss. You are the architect of your own economic reality. A breakthrough occurs when you stop making decisions based on your current bank account and start making decisions based on where you intend to be. This requires a level of courage that most people never tap into, as it involves making commitments before the how is fully visible. It is the decision to be wealthy that reveals the path to wealth, not the other way around. Commitment is the fuel that sustains a decision long after the initial excitement has faded. It is easy to be decided on a sunny Monday morning after a motivational seminar, but the true test of your destiny is the decision you make when you are tired, frustrated, or facing a setback. Wealth is built in the quiet moments of discipline where you decide to choose your future self over your current impulses. It is the decision to invest when others are panicking, to work on your business when others are watching television, and to hold yourself to a standard of excellence even when no one is watching. When you make a decision so strong that excuses disappear, you create a vacuum that the universe inevitably fills with results. You become a force of nature. Financial freedom is not something that happens to you. It is something you claim through the relentless repetition of high-level decisions. Lesson 3: Focus creates results. In the modern economy, your attention is your most valuable currency. Where your focus goes, your energy flows, and where your energy flows, results inevitably follow. This is a fundamental law of human performance. If you are constantly obsessed with your bills, the rising cost of living, and the mounting debt on your credit cards, you are inadvertently training your brain to become an expert in lack. You become hyper-aware of every limitation, which puts your brain into a state of contraction and survival mode. In this state, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for creativity and strategic planning, is effectively sidelined. You cannot innovate your way out of a problem while you are staring at the problem with terror. A breakthrough requires you to pivot your focus from the gap to the gain, and from the obstacle to the opportunity. The mind is a seeking mechanism. It finds exactly what it looks for. If you look for reasons why you can't succeed, your reticular activating system RAS will highlight every news story, every failed business attempt, and every skeptical comment from a friend to prove you right. However, when you shift your focus to value creation, skills acquisition, and market needs, your brain begins to filter the world differently. You start seeing gaps in the market that you can fill. You start noticing people you can learn from. You start hearing ideas in casual conversations that can be turned into revenue streams. This shift in focus isn't positive thinking in a vacuum. It is a tactical redirection of your cognitive resources. By focusing on what you can control, your work ethic, your learning, and your output, you move from a reactive state to a creative state. This is where money is made. To master your focus, you must become the guardian of your environment. We live in an era of outrage porn and digital distractions designed to hijack our attention for the profit of others. If you spend your morning focused on social media envy or negative news cycles, you have already spent your best mental energy before you've even started your work. Breakthrough thinkers treat their focus like a sacred flame. They meditate on their vision. They visualize their success with vivid intensity, and they obsess over the problems they are solving for their clients or customers. They know that a laser-focused mind can accomplish in a month what a scattered mind cannot achieve in a decade. When you align your focus with your identity and your decisions, you create a powerful synergy that makes financial success not just possible but inevitable. You stop being a spectator of your life and start being the lead actor. Lesson 4: Massive action beats perfect planning. One of the most seductive traps on the path to wealth is the illusion of preparation. Many intelligent people spend years in a state of perpetual learning, buying more courses, reading more books, and waiting for the perfect moment to launch their idea. This is often just a sophisticated form of procrastination rooted in the fear of failure. The reality is that the map is not the territory. You can study the map as much as you want, but you will never know where the potholes are until you actually start driving. Breakthrough thinkers understand that massive imperfect action is the only way to generate real-world data. Planning has diminishing returns, action has compounding returns. While the overthinker is still polishing their business plan, the action taker has already failed 3 times, learned 3 invaluable lessons and pivoted toward a profitable solution. Speed is the ultimate competitive advantage in the digital age. Success loves speed because momentum is easier to maintain than it is to initiate. When you take massive action, you create a slipstream of energy that carries you through the inevitable dip in motivation. This doesn't mean acting recklessly, but it does mean acting before you feel completely ready. In fact, if you feel ready, you've probably waited too long. The learning while moving philosophy ensures that your education is grounded in reality rather than theory. Every phone call you make, every product you test, and every offer you put into the marketplace provides you with feedback that no textbook can offer. This feedback loop is the secret source of wealth. The faster you act, the faster you fail, the faster you learn, and the faster you win. Moreover, massive action has a psychological benefit. It kills anxiety. Anxiety lives in the space between thinking and doing. When you are fully immersed in the doing, there is no room for the what-ifs. You become focused on the next step, the next problem, and the next win. This proactive stance changes your relationship with failure. Instead of seeing failure as a verdict on your worth, you begin to see it as a necessary tax on your success. You realize that you only need to be right once, but you have to be in the game to get that chance. Momentum creates income because it makes you visible. It attracts opportunities, partners, and customers who are drawn to your energy and your progress. Stop waiting for the stars to align. They align only once you start moving toward them with everything you've got. Lesson 5: Proximity accelerates wealth. The final piece of the breakthrough puzzle is perhaps the most overlooked: the power of your social and professional ecosystem. Human beings are biological chameleons. We subconsciously pick up the habits, the vocabulary, the risk tolerance, and the expectations of the people we surround ourselves with. This is the law of proximity. If you are the smartest or most successful person in your circle, you are in the wrong circle. If your environment normalizes debt, complaints, and mediocrity, you will find it nearly impossible to sustain a high-level financial identity. Your willpower is a finite resource, and it will eventually buckle under the weight of a negative environment. To accelerate your wealth, you must intentionally place yourself in rooms where your current dream is someone else's daily reality. Proximity to high-level thinkers compresses time. A single conversation with a mentor who has already walked the path can save you 5 years of trial and error. Why? Because they operate from a different set of assumptions. They don't see the risks you see. They see the systems and the leverage. They don't think in terms of hourly wages, they think in terms of scalable assets. By being in their presence, whether through masterminds, high-level networking, or even proximity to their digital content, you begin to download their mental models. You start to realize that the things you thought were impossible or huge are actually quite standard. This normalization of success is the greatest gift proximity can give you. When you see someone just like you making 10 times what you make, it breaks the inner glass ceiling of your identity. Building a world-class network is not about what you can get from people, but about who you become by being around them. It is about contributing value to those who are ahead of you and learning to speak the language of growth. If you want to be a builder, you must be around builders. If you want to be an investor, you must be around investors. This might mean investing in a coach, moving to a new city, or simply distancing yourself from people who drain your ambition. Your income is often the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, not because of some mystical energy, but because of the shared standards and ideas that flow between you. Surround yourself with those who challenge you to rise, who hold you accountable to your highest self, and who make your current level feel uncomfortable. Proximity is the ultimate shortcut to a life of abundance. Early financial freedom is not reserved for the lucky, it's reserved for those who adopt a breakthrough mindset. Change how you think, decide, focus, and act, and your financial reality must follow. Remember, the moment you upgrade your mindset, you upgrade your future. Stay committed, take action today, and this can be the chapter where everything changes.